Hello.
Hello, Fiona Edgar.
Hello, Craig Simpson.
Well, this is Radiant Creators and Fiona Edgar. I guess you could say this is Craig from Radiant Creators and Fiona Edgar from Fiona Edgar. And this is this is our weekly chat about the stars and cosmic energy. So I guess we'll just get right into it. Fiona Edgar is definitely one of the hardest working ladies in astrology because she just finished a show before this with David Whitehead, and now she's already, back at the microphone again. So, how you hanging in there, Fiona? And that show earlier did sound pretty good. It sounded like a lot of great info. And
Yeah. Thanks for that. I'm feeling pretty good, Craig. It's lovely and sunny over here. I feel very charged and rejuvenated by the solar energy, so I'm doing good. The stars for the week ahead.
yes,
Yes. So let's see. We have a few icky things and a few good things. So there aren't really any major aspects until Wednesday. And on Wednesday, we have Venus, the planet of love and beauty and pleasure and all of those good things, makes a square, which is a difficult aspect to Mars. So Mars is the planet of war, sexuality, masculinity. So, I mean, the chances are you may have a little spat or something with your spouse, or you may just be feeling super charged up, feeling good, high energy. So it depends on how you channel it. I mean, just because it's a bad aspect or seen as a negative aspect doesn't mean that you're going to experience it in a negative way. You can channel it into something good. So on the same day, the Sun conjuncts Venus, which is a beautiful aspect, a really, really pleasant aspect, good for love, good for relationships, good for your finances as well. But because of the Venus Mars square, don't be going making impulsive buys on the internet because you may regret it because of Venus retrograde. So the next day, on the 4th of June, we actually have no, we don't. That's already happened. Sorry about that. So on the 5th of June, which is the next aspect that we have, Mercury is in sextile to Uranus. So this is a day when we could get that kind of aha moment, a light bulb moment going off in our brains. We may hear some good news that day. We may become enlightened through information. We simply may enjoy watching TV or reading a book or sorting through some kind of information. Now, on the same day, Mercury does make a square to Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. So, I mean, it's not a long transit. Like, you should only really feel the energy of it that day. But a square between Mercury, which is the communication planet, and Chiron could be a difficult conversation. However, because of the sextile to Uranus, it's a conversation that will end well and you will be better off for it. So on the same day, this is a whopper of a day, by the way, we have a full moon, which is actually a lunar eclipse. So the eclipses are very important in astrology. The energy of an eclipse actually lasts for 6 months, and events that happen under an eclipse are life changing. So whatever happens around the few days is going to kind of plant a seed that's going to grow into something really big, like maybe a month from now, 2 months, or like 5 or 6 months down the line. So a lunar eclipse is the end of something. It's the end of a cycle. It's a full moon. Something is illuminated along with those sextiles and squares that are going on with Mercury there. You may get some enlightened information that enlightens you about a difficulty that you've been going through, about a person that you're having issues with. Um, so yeah, those couple of days are going to be a little bit bonkers, so try and stay grounded. So on the 6th, which is the day after the full moon, the sun makes a square to Mars. This is a little bit of a this can indicate some conflict. This is definitely an argument type of energy. So watch out for that. And then actually, that's it for the week. There are no other major aspects, but your hands will be full this week. You're certainly not going to be bored.
Wow. Well, Chiron coming into play, that does make me think about all the, rioting and protesting we have here in America right now, so, and of course we have the big full moon coming up, so we'll see, maybe we'll find some illumination, some truth, some understanding, some people chilling out, something. Those are quite the stars to have during that time, during this time, here over here in America, because it's a little nutty. You might have noticed if you're looking at any world media at all. We're, we're, we're,
Yes.
we're causing quite a fuss and getting a lot of attention. So, and I know here, it would be good if people did look at Chiron. I'm glad that that's going to come into play and be aspected because, America's always had issues with our racial stuff. And we're doing, better than we were back in the day. And, right now it's sort of on the surface. Again, a lot of disharmony is happening, but we shall see. It tends to die down, but I would love that if, America looked into that wound a bit deeper, because I think we're at a point now where we can realize that the issue that we had happen recently, yeah, you can say an aspect of that is racial, may have been, but regardless, there's a much bigger issue involved. I think America could look at and just realize that, hey, we do live in a police state, and you don't have to dislike police to know that we kind of live in a police state. And they used to wear like a nice pressed shirt, and they carried a revolver, and they were peacekeepers, and now they look like friggin' soldiers of fortune in body armor with, 3 Glocks, like one on each ankle, one on their chest, one on their hip, down another one on their thigh. Then they have like their AR across their back. And it's like, dude, what in the hell are you doing? You're supposed to help old ladies open wine coolers who have arthritis and get cats out of a tree and help people who are in accidents. You're not a military. Good God. The people didn't
Yeah.
ask for this, So I'm hoping that will turn into, maybe that's a little bit of cosmic weather when it comes down to it, is I think that America will actually, I'm hoping that in general the populace is, I think they're already doing it, is going to see past this being a racial issue and realize, wait a second, who put out pallets of bricks for rioters? I've never seen a riot that well managed in my life where there were pallets of bricks delivered.
Wow, that's a bit suspicious.
Yeah, yeah. And it isn't like there was construction site or something. No, right out in front of the Apple store, and I forget which state it was, there was a pallet of bricks. A forklift drops off a pallet of bricks out of nowhere and disappears, and you're like, wait a second.
Wow. Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy. But, I did see something kind of heartwarming there. Someone shared an image, and I guess that they didn't show it on the media, but it was like this white cop, and he was being protected by this ring of black men. They were protecting him from the crowd. So I guess they didn't show that on CNN, did they?
Oh, they definitely wouldn't. They definitely wouldn't. And there was a great video of Amish people who, they're a unique religious bunch that kind of lives in a different time, and they're here and there in America, but especially in the East, I think. And I grew up around Amish people, and so very humble, loving people, just completely religious, and they sort of live their own world amongst. I think the serpent, as they call us, anyway. So, but they're very loving and very kind in general, even though very, very dogmatic, and who knows. But a bunch of Amish people went out to protest Mr. Floyd, and being killed, and they were just singing. They just went out with the little signs, the Amish people, and they were just singing their gospel songs. And I was like, and the media didn't really show that either. And for some reason, it struck me because the Amish don't need fame. They don't want to be noticed. They live mostly on the east part of our country, I do believe. They're, they don't like technology. I mean, they're living back in 1750 basically, and they're happy there. And for them to make an appearance and show up and kind of be just singing their gospel songs and I thought it was very touching. I don't know why, but there was something about that. And you didn't see it in the mainstream media either. These people that just don't want attention came out and they doing their own little protest, their own little like, hey, we think this was nonsense. And I thought, wow, it's just heavy stuff. Sometimes there's those moments that you see and you go, there's just something powerful about this.
Yeah, yeah, something really heartwarming, for sure. And don't the Amish, they don't vaccinate their kids, right? Or did I get that wrong?
They don't in general, from what I
Hmm.
understand. I mean, and of course, that's one of the things is they do the religious exemption, and of course you've got the I just call them the damn socialists who always want to force the Amish to do such things. But in general, the Amish have been able to kind of have an exempt status, and they don't vaccinate in general, as far as I know. And no, they're amazing. I mean, if you grew up around, if you lived around them, I did until I was like 17, and I mean, if you're sick, they're almost like our forgotten Western mind on some levels. What I mean by that is like for healing. Like if you're like, oh, somebody's anemic, they'll say, oh, they'll make you a bone broth with certain herbs and things in it, and say, here, drink this, and they're very, very strong Dutch accent. And so they have a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge that in general we've lost. They're kind of like these like uh, I don't know, just people living off the grid that are almost just holding a wisdom, holding knowledge that we don't have. It's tremendous because they don't really do regular doctors either, and so they take care of themselves. And in general, you don't see many chubby Amish, and they're say very dogmatic, very they're very Bible oriented and etc. But at the same time, it's a successful society which is living outside of our society, this breakaway civilization, that felt the need to come in and say, hey, we saw this and we don't like it, and protest in their way, which is just we'll just sing songs. I thought,
Yeah.
whoa,
Aw.
yeah, that's really something. So, and I've never seen that before, and I went, this means something. Well, definitely as far as cosmic weather or psychic weather, this coming week, I'll ask you if you have anything that you're picking up on. But for me, it's just a big one. Don't despair, people. The mainstream machine is wanting us to despair, to feel hopeless, to feel alone. There is a lot of scary stuff. Contact tracing. I saw a terrifying video by a lady who went to the training to find out about it, and then she made a video about it. And yes, there really are things to be afraid of. Evil is on the move. Like I think we always reference Thomas Sheridan, but like I think he did say the demons are awake, or somebody said that, and you can feel it. Yes, but you know what? Don't despair. Tend your garden, do what makes you feel powerful, because people listening to this, you kind of are a breakaway civilization. You really are. You're like the Amish, just a lot cooler, way more pagan, more attractive. You dress better. I'm just saying, we're you're part of a breakaway civilization, and tend your fellowship. It's always very, very small. Do what makes you feel powerful. Be sure, because you know what? Maybe tomorrow we're jacked up and we're screwed, and life's very different and we don't like it. Did you live today? You know what I mean? So really, find what excites you. Do your hobbies. Don't despair, and for God's sakes, live. Because I think if we have any chance of a better future right now, which I think we do, in Lord of the Rings, Gandalf said that some think that force is what keeps evil at bay. But he said, I haven't seen that to be the case. I have found that the sweetness of life is what keeps evil at bay. So cultivate your sweetness and your experience of life. That's my cosmic weather. How about you?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty much the same way as you do. I mean, a couple of days ago, I saw the post that Thomas made, and I picked up on that too. For me, the sign is that people just go a bit crazy on the internet. Like I'll wake up and someone's left like Looney Tunes comments, under a post that I made, or like sent me a crazy message, sometimes more than one, because they all tend to flare up around the same time. They're infected by the same kind of mind virus, and it kind of sets them all off. So I know when that happens that it's time for me to put up my psychic shields and my firewall, make sure it's working correctly so any negative energy can bounce off it. So I did that and I feel pretty good, I have to say. I feel pretty good at the moment, despite all of the stuff that's going on around the world. But I really think that it makes a big difference when you're able to have a little break, from work and go outside and just stand in the grass or play with your pets, those are the type of things that keep me positive.
Oh, absolutely. And you did your video on psychic attack, and I think that was very timely if people want to check that out because I have felt really psychic attack recently, and maybe it's not so much personal for me, like no one attacking me personally, but there is a dark cloud out there. Like demons are awake, and psychic attack. It's like dark thunderclouds. There's a storm coming, you might say. So, I think there's kind of a global, you could say, psychic attack going on right now. So it was
Mhm.
timely that you made that video, and it is good to make your house that sanctuary. Make sure your energy is powerful because really there's no psychic attack unless you allow it in, and then if you have allowed it in, you can push it back out. And so I think we're all sort of in this pressurized global psychic attack right now, and it's good to
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. We are, absolutely. And this is something that I talk about all the time because I think that people need to be aware of it, is that they're constantly psychically attacking us. And it's like this intelligent energy by
Yeah.
itself. It can be one demon or a bunch of demons, but it seems to be like this kind of collective, like dark energy that if it gets any kind of indicator that you're awakening, or the likes of you and me talking about something that leads to people, awakening on our podcasts, it will attack you. You get punished for it. I've noticed that over and over again. And people just don't know what's going on and they don't know how to protect themselves, and the problem is they're bombarded with so much of this love and light spirituality. And that just couldn't be farther from the truth. True spirituality is difficult, it's hard, it's growth. And, the best way that you can avoid these psychic attacks is by feeling very strong and centered within yourself. There's nothing external that will prevent that. It's all about the way that you feel and how protected your own energy is.
Definitely. So that's kind of a great psychic weather for the week is to, protect your own energy, and that I guess really comes down to everyone has their rituals, but what you do that makes you feel powerful. Whether it's like for me, something I'll often do if I feel run down or just like I'm negative or maybe I just feel like it. Salt baths, like throw that Epsom salts, in the bathtub, and that helps to really literally, like it does cleanse the energy around the body. You know, and of course I meditate, do Wim Hof breath, you name it. You spend time in nature. Really try to get out there. It's a little bit of a drive from where we're at, but we definitely have nature nearby. And then we can get in bigger nature if we go a little further. And the great thing about nature is it kind of does the work for you. If you just go and feel the sacredness, then it will get that dark, nasty psychic attack energy that's kind of all over all of us right now. It'll cleanse it out for you. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
do. Yeah, and so it's all about find your method to not fall into despair, because that's what the mainstream media, the empire, the nastiness, the demons want you to do. Once you despair, then they kind of whisper in your ear like Worm Tongue from Lord of the Rings and say, "You are alone. There is no hope. You're a bad person. You don't believe in
Yeah.
yourself. It's all hopeless. We're all gonna die anyway." It's like, and then it gets you. And so, in a sense, whether you're watching it on TV or you're just feeling that energy, it's broadcasting right now.
Yes. Yeah, that's so true. That's totally true. And people kind of need to be aware of the fact that whatever this energy is or whatever vessel it's using to get to you, whether that's another person or you need to be aware of the fact that it can manipulate your emotions and your feelings. I mean, I'm at the point now where I know automatically when something is trying to influence my thoughts, put my self-esteem down, or make me have issues with other people. I can recognize that because I know it feels like it's coming from another source. I know when it's not me. So that's a really good thing that people can practice. Actually, something that I forgot to mention is that Mercury actually goes into its shadow period on the 1st of June. So that's let's see, Monday? Yeah, Monday.
That's Monday, yeah.
Yeah,
Something
so
to look
it's in.
forward to.
Oh yeah, there's loads of stuff to look forward to this week.
Yeah.
So
And
I mean, it's just like Mercury is in Cancer. It's going to go retrograde in Cancer. So I mean, I think I mentioned this in our last podcast that we'll be feeling a bit more watery and emotional than normal, but it is a good time to practice that sort of psychic self-defense that we just talked about.
yeah, and then when does it actually, do you know when it goes retrograde uh, technically? So the shadow starts Monday, then it probably what goes retrograde like the middle of the following week? Or
It actually doesn't go retrograde until the 19th.
oh
So
wow, okay, okay, gotcha.
yeah, and then it goes direct again on the 12th of July. That's like the day after my birthday. And
Mm.
then the after shadow, which never is as bad, but the after shadow doesn't really end until the 26th. But personally, I only ever feel that for a week.
Yeah, I think yeah, the shadow period it definitely does come into play. So, hey everybody, if you have anything you need to fix or contracts you need to sign, it's like get that done before the 19th.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because oh my gosh. Yeah, so, well, um, we're in an electric time right now, and definitely despair is being broadcast, and I do think that it really is the sweetness of life, the experience of life that fights that more than anything. So, I mean, something I did or we've done recently is take little week fasts from social media news and even drinking, uh, I wouldn't say it's difficult, but people can be amazed at how used how accustomed they are to like drinking every day or a few times a week or something like that. And um, after doing like a 1 week media fast and social media fast and not drinking, I was like, okay, well, I'll have a glass of wine, but I'm gonna still keep off the news and the social media. It's like I was like, oh my goodness, but um, yeah, definitely. It doesn't hurt to take care of you, and I do think that if you, it's just something I might not even saying I necessarily recommend it, but um, a person might be amazed at how good they feel if they just you can even do a 3 day just don't look at social media, don't look at news, and drink if you want to, but whatever, just pick some other habit, or I don't eat healthy or something like that for a couple days, and you might find that wow, a lot, because it goes along with what you're saying, because a lot of your negativity is not always yours. You don't really own it. Like say you feel, oh, I feel this negativity, this anger, hopelessness, or whatever I'm feeling, self doubt. Then you realize, wow, that bit of clarity when you get away from all that noise, that hiss of the snake. You realize, man, it's not really mine. I have these negative emotions, these negative feelings, but it's just they're from out there, like you're saying. They're not really from me. I'm not really generating it. I'm just tuned into it. So I'm just gonna not tune into that and choose to tune into more of the sweetness of life and making some, I don't know, cooking up some dandelion greens, you know,
Yes.
making some making some soup, something like that. Cooking, just something that connects you to life. Riding a motorcycle, hiking, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I love cooking. I really do. And I'm really into cooking, healthy, nutritious food, especially plants that I've managed to forage in the countryside here in Ireland. But I think it's I just really enjoy it. I love chopping it up, looking at all of the colors, and then the bonus is that it's nourishing me and it's providing me with all of these nutrients, which it, actually you really need to um to be able to fend off psychic attacks. You need to have a strong physical energy. So you need to not pollute your body with like junk food and all of that jazz.
Oh yeah, it's essential to be living in your body, and many people are not, living in their bodies at all. And so yeah, it's like Gandalf said in Lord of the Rings that it's not force that keeps evil at bay; it's the sweetness of life. And so yeah, if you're it really is the person who's making a beautiful dinner or lunch, the person who's cooking soulfully, especially from wild harvest ingredients. That energy really, that's keeping the psychic attack, the darkness, the at bay. That's really what's screwing up the globalists in this current plan that they have, which is on many many levels. People sometimes think, yeah, I need to go out there and riot and be angry, or I need to, shit post on Facebook. And it's like, hey, all that's fun, but I tell you what, you might do more to defeat evil with a perfect baked potato.
Yes. Yes, I totally agree with you. Yeah, and actually, you know what? There's actually food on. I was just pulling the tarot cards for the week ahead, and there's a nice plate
Yes.
of nourishing food and uh, a carafe of wine. So definitely things to indulge in this week, or enjoy a nice glass of wine with your dinner. I don't think that there's any harm with having the odd glass of wine.
Oh, not
Um,
at all. Yeah.
so the first card that I pulled was the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups is a card that symbolizes a person leaving a situation that they've been in. So it's not necessarily a bad card at all. It can mean walking away from a group of people that have pestered you or caused you trouble. I'm kind of feeling with this group of people that I see on the card, they're sort of like the flaming pitchfork people that would have burnt you at the stake a couple of hundred years ago. I feel someone in particular out there listening to this podcast is having issues with their family who disapprove of what the kind of interests that they have in astrology or tarot or whatever. So I feel that person moving away from them, and I think that it's a healthy choice that they're making because it's opening a doorway to something else. I don't have any more messages other than that. But on a global level, the Eight of Cups could be us leaving a bad situation and going into the dark where we're not really sure of what's going on, but it's definitely for the best. So the next card of is the Ten of Pentacles, which is a really good card. It's all about a family business, a job that's a job, a career, or a skill that someone has that stays with them through their whole lives and provides them with an income. It's also a good card for marriage or partnerships, working on joint projects and creating money with that. So on the cards, there's actually a lovely feast with meat and veggies and the wine and potatoes. So it's a good time if you're able to have some nice family meals together, sit down, turn off the devices, just reconnect and have just conversation about your day because a lot of people don't do that anymore because conflicting schedules. The card after that is another excellent card. It's the Ten of Cups. You know what? I'm pretty sure that we pulled both of these together in a previous week.
The Ten of Cups, I remember for sure. That was last week, I believe.
Hmm. Yeah, that's coming up a lot then. So the Ten of Cups is the card of happy families. A couple and their kids or their cats or their dogs living together in harmony. So, although this week is a little bit shaky energetically, I do feel that anyone that's been experiencing issues is going to be okay. Your family's going to be okay. You're going to be able to protect what you love and what you hold dear. And for some reason, I usually only pull three cards, but I pulled a fourth one, and it's actually another major arcana trump card. and it's the Chariot. So the Chariot is about the ability to, first of all, control two very different forces in your life, and find a balance there. But it's also about taking the reins, taking control of something that has been out of control in your life, and being your own boss, being your own authority, turning off Facebook, not listening to the news, and just making up your own damn mind and going with that. So those are the cards for the week. Not too bad at all. Pretty good. So even though we have that full moon that's going to be a bit crazy with the eclipse and that, we're going to be okay. We just need to stay centered and grounded.
Well, those cards are great. I mean, everybody loves the tens. Well, in general, they're pretty happy cards. I like the Eight of Cups. I've always thought that as like the going your own way and card, and definitely this is a great time for, I think, little Eight of Cups energy where maybe it's a great time to do that kind of social media fast, that leave your device at home fast, or well, at least maybe turn off the alerts when you're at home. And I don't know, maybe this is a great Eight of Cups week. I kind of sense that, like, yeah, like take care of yourself, go on that little journey, and you'll find that it won't so much disconnect you from everybody else, but maybe it makes you closer to those in your life that are important, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess that kind of wraps it up. We're getting better at doing this.
Yes, yes, we are.
Yeah, thanks everybody who's tuning in. We're getting great, numbers on this. It's fun, getting great feedback, and we'll definitely keep doing it. And all right, well, if there's nothing else, Fiona, we'll wrap this up, and I'll put the file where you can download it.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Craig.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Talk,
Bye.
talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.